I'm on my sit bone. So the bone, we have two hip bones here in the back. We've got a sacrum in the middle right here. And at the bottom of the sit bones reminds me of like butterfly wings, those beautiful swallowtail butterflies that we get in the summertime here. And it's like there's a place for you to sit on these two bones. Let's see if you can feel it. And if you can't feel it, maybe that you're rocked back a little bit and you're sitting toward the back of them. But if you come forward and think about being right on the middle of them, and you can really feel then your sit bones rooting into the chair. So you don't want a chair that's got a whole bunch of padding, ideally. A little bit is okay, but it's also okay to have one. Mine's just a plain wooden chair. That works pretty well too. So as I'm sitting here, I've got my heels under my knees. So my feet are out or in, and they're about hip width apart. Should be comfortable for you. And then you're going to sit on those sit bones and think tall thoughts about your upper body. And imagine the crown of your head being drawn up to the sky like a silver string. So it's like there's a line between the tip of your tailbone and the crown of your head. And once you're there, then we can just experiment with going forward. So basically what we're doing is creating more hydration in our hip joints. So yogis hinge at the hip, top of the thighs right here. We're hinging forward at the hip and back, and we're keeping that spine straight. Normally when we go back, we often tend to round, but I'd like you to see if you can keep long in the back body from tailbone to crown of head. And you might, feel like, oh, these hips are so stiff as you start to do this. But as you keep doing it, it's going to get a little bit easier. It'll feel a little bit more fluid in the joint. You're going forward and back. And you're not dropping the head. There's about a fist distance between your chin and your chest, your collarbones down here. So you're just going forward and back, and just relax the arms, but keep, the chest open here rather than rounding in. So chest open, and then that nice long spine is going forward and back. Breathing. A little side to side. So the sit bones are actually there. I don't know what size they are. I think of them about a size of a quarter or 50-cent piece or something, but they're not like just a pinpoint. So there is something there that when you go from side to side, you'll probably feel when you go off your side. So again, you're keeping, you're sort of like a down, you're going from side to side. This is just getting into the corners of the hip sockets here. And then you're going to come forward and circle around in one direction. You're going to come forward again and circle around in the other direction. So just go easy. If it feels really stiff, do a little less. If anything hurts, don't do it. Please just modify or not do it for a while. Just watch what's happening and see if there's some part of it you can do. And no feeling guilty about what you can or can't do. It's just all about how it feels in your body. So you're circling around, coming forward through the center, and then going back on the other side in whatever size semicircle, forward and around the other way. So let's start by going back instead of forward. So we're going to go back. You're not going to fall over, but you are going to try and keep your spine, engaged, which means you're going to have to probably draw the low belly in a bit and maybe draw those low ribs together. So you're going back and forward. Again, the spine is straight. And you're just relaxing the shoulders on top of the shoulder blades. And you're going forward and back.
Joanne?
Yes.
Ma'am, I had a quick question. I'm unable to see the feet. I mean, your feet as in, are they like firmly on the floor, like flat on the floor?
They are flat on the floor.
Okay. Okay. Can I wear like regular home footwear while doing it, or do my feet need to be bare?
Took my my shoes off because I like to wear bare feet in my house, but also because I can just feel my feet better. So
okay.
But it's up to you.
Okay.
Some that'll slip off easily. So what we're going to do now is we're going to think of circling around those sit bones in one direction and circling back the other, whichever way you want to go. So you're just circling around the sit bones now. So you can think of, we've got this pelvis, this kind of bony pelvis, and the leg bone comes up and meets it in the hip socket. And we're sort of stirring the pelvis around the top of the hip socket. And inhaling and exhaling. Pay some attention to your breath. So movement, whether it's yoga or some kind of slightly modified movement like this, it's something that will take our attention. It'll make us be mindful, pay deeper attention to the movement and the sensations that it creates, so we can adjust anything that doesn't feel so good, or we can add on to it, circle in the opposite direction. So I just love doing this. Like, I would do it in my office at SILS. I had a chair.
My arms need to be on my sides always, or can I lift them up and put them on my lap or thighs or anything?
Your feet?
My arms, no, my arms.
Yes, if you're more comfortable with the hands just sitting on your thighs, yes, by all means. If you want to just relax the sides of the neck, it's also kind of nice to do that. So go around in circles and on the one side. See if it gets a little easier, a little freer feeling than the other. One of the big problems I'm sort of reading about in the literature about arthritis and other things that tend to affect people in my age group is that our joints get dehydrated. So I've started to add in a lot of these joint hydrating things into my yoga practice because that gives us ease of movement, basically. So we've done that sitting. Just sit tall for a minute. Think of being long from the navel to the throat in the front. So you're opening up the front body rather than rounding it back. As soon as we get to the back of the chair, let's just all sit back for a minute. And then just put just let your back rest on the chair. And what I noticed, immediately I go onto a little curve. And this whole area, which was helping to support my movements before, is just kind of feeling kind of flabby down here. So, but if I sit back up and ideally move away from the back of the chair, even at the bottom, then all of a sudden, your core muscles start to engage. And also, your breathing improves. So you're long from navel to throat, long from your tailbone to your crown of head. You're not lifting the chin or dropping it. You're just thinking tall thoughts, making the neck really long. Just follow your natural breath. Maybe close your eyes for a moment and just allow yourself to focus within, see how your body's feeling today. The feet, the legs, the upper legs, the hips. See if anything feels a little achy or a little uncomfortable. Keep an eye on it as you go through to see if you can add in a little bit of movement that it will ease out the connective tissue in the joints. So you're long from tailbone to crown of head, long in the front from navel to throat, and long in the side body from sit bones to armpits. So the image I like to use is to think of 4 pillars of energy rising up all 4 sides of the body. So once you're nice and long and your spine's extended, you want to sort of, as you inhale, think of inhale, drawing the low belly in and up, thinking of the low ribs drawing together. So these are the upper abdominal muscles here. They're just above the waistline, and then the low belly is where your lower abdominal muscles are. So inhale to prepare, and as you exhale, draw the low belly in and up. Think of the low ribs wrapping around to help maintain that spine, because as soon as we let this go, this middle section, got my yoga top here, so you might be able to see it a little bit better. But you can see this middle section, and it just kind of folds back, and then we get all the rolls in the side. So, we want to sit tall. We want to scoop the low belly in and up. We want to draw those low ribs together. It's just like an internal corset. We came equipped with it, but we just don't use it very much more in sedentary jobs, sitting at desks all the time. So part of what I try to do now is always think of, my body now feels so much more comfortable when I'm in this more upright position, spine lengthened. And ideally, if you were sitting at your desk, you want your computer so that when you're sitting with this nice tall spine and you look up, your computer screen will be on the horizon. Mine is actually, even though it's quite far away from me, it's pretty much on the horizon. I have to look down just a little bit. But that's something that you can check. Drop the ear to the shoulder on one side. Think of the other side of the neck lengthening. You're listening to something that's coming down from the ceiling, and then tip the head in the other direction. Just relax your shoulders and come back to center. Now drop the chin to the chest. Don't have to really drop it down far, but you're just going to go a little bit from side to side, just starting to release tension in the neck. We carry a lot of tension in the neck and shoulders. You're just letting the chin go from side to side. Relax your jaw and your tongue as you do this, and then come back to center. And again, think of chin neither lifted nor dropped. As soon as we start to drop the chin, and then we have to look up at the computer screen, you see some people around like this, and they develop a permanent kind of hump at the top of the shoulders. We want to just make sure that that doesn't happen. So we're lengthening here. We're dropping. The shoulder blades are attached to the back of the shoulder blade, and they're just, think of them as dropping down the back. Inhale to prepare, and as you exhale, you draw the low belly in and up. Think of those low ribs coming together. You're not pressing them together so hard that you can't breathe, but I want you to feel it because you're going to be developing your oblique muscles. Okay, just pause here for a moment. One of the big parts of yoga are the breath exercises. So we're going to do something called the 4-part breath. So you can do this either with eyes closed or open, your choice, or just gently gazing down. You're going to inhale to a count of 4, 2, 3, 4, and then hold that breath in for a count of 4, 2, 3, 4. You're going to exhale for a count of 4, 2, 3, 4, and you're going to hold that breath out for 4, 2, 3, 4. Take a couple of natural breaths. And then again, inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold it in, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, we exhale through the nose, 2, 3, 4. Hold it out, 2, 3, 4. And just take a couple of natural breaths. Notice the effect of breathing on your posture, about what happens to your spine. We have this tendency, I'm sure it's, when we're frightened or afraid, often we kind of curl in. And of course, we're going through a period of where there's so much uncertainty and fear for so many people. And so there is this tendency to kind of want to protect ourselves. But here we're trying to, lengthen and open and create more space for the lungs and the heart to function. Let's do one more of those 4-part block breaths. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold it in for 4, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold it out for 4, 2, 3, 4. And just return to your natural breath. So that actually strengthens the respiratory system, which is something we really like to do right now. And it also makes us pay close attention or be mindful. So anytime you feel stressed, it's a really good idea just to follow the natural breath. Let's just do that for a few breaths, just noticing your inhale. There's a little pause after the inhale. You don't have to do the whole holding it in thing, and then a slow exhale. Just follow your natural breath. Again, think of the crown of the head is going up. Don't drop the chin. Inhaling and exhaling. And then putting your hands around those low ribs. Inhale to expand the ribs, inhaling into that area of the ribs, and then as you exhale, draw together. Inhale to expand the ribs, and exhale as you draw together. Inhale to expand, and exhale as you draw together. Think of the shoulder blades sliding down the back. They're not rounding out to the side. They're sliding down the back. The chin's not lifting, but the crown of the head is still going up. Okay, how are we doing so far? Okay, so you can send a chat message anytime to Laurie, and she will, I can't really see what's on my screen right now. I can see, people if they say something, but I can't, Laurie will send along any messages. So the feet are just a little wider than hips width apart here. And from here, we're going to just pause here and then relax the arms down and start to roll the shoulders here. Roll them back, feel the shoulder blades moving on the back. So we're also always thinking, put your shoulders back, but it's really about putting the shoulder blades down. So this will massage your upper back. And roll the shoulders forward. And then lift the shoulders up towards the ears and just drop down, just like a weight. Inhale up toward the ears and drop down. Inhale up towards the ears and drop down. Sometimes there's a hint of soreness in there, and I think it's just because we're holding so much tension. Let's try that, dropping the ear to the shoulder on one side again. Keeping both sides of the neck long, actually. We don't want to just drop that ear down in front of us. We want to go up and over. Oh, pause here. So put your hands on your knees. There's a well-known position in yoga on all fours where you have your hands and your knees on the floors. For some of us, our knees don't feel so good anymore. So here's a version you can do in a chair. You just have your hands on the knees. Inhale to prepare, and as you exhale, you draw the low belly in and draw those low ribs back. So that same action, but we're using it just to move the ribs back. So it's not really a drop of the chin to the chest. It's just sort of a wave back to the spine, and then you come up and you lengthen from navel to throat, opening up the front of the body. Exhale as you go back. So here's our chair, cat, and the dog poses, our cat and cow, sometimes it's called. And it's a lovely movement. When you start to feel discomfort in your back, this is a great one to do. You're moving your pelvis back and forth, massaging into the low back as you do it. Inhale as you exhale, and the more you engage that core, the more you strengthen the core muscles. That's what supports the low back. We think it's our back muscles. And really, primarily, it's the front, the lower abdominals and the upper abdominals. Okay, so from here, just take one of your hands, doesn't matter which one, and just put it maybe towards the back of your chair. Bring the other hand over to the outside of the knee on that side. And then you're going to spiral the belly. So you can actually move these abdominals over toward the side that you're turning towards. And then the chest moves and the neck. But we're not just trying to move the head and neck. That's just going to strain it more and make it more stressed out. So we're just going to rotate the belly, rotate the ribs, rotate the shoulders eventually. And we're doing this a few times just to get the beginning of this nice rotation going in the body. Let's try it on the other side. Hand comes over to the outside of the knee, other hand goes on the chair just for a little resistance, and then you're sliding the belly over, sliding those low ribs around. They love to turn. And you're just looking out to your side. Okay, so we got a little bit of that. We also, often there's a muscle in here right between where you feel your shoulder joint and your collarbones in here, but right in there, there's sort of a soft, cushy place. It's probably not very soft. It's our trapezius bone. So if you just put your 3 fingers up there and just massage in between the neck and where you feel the collarbone attached to the shoulder joint and circle in the opposite direction. So you're going to extend that arm down now and then bring it up and use the outside of the hand to just give a little karate chop there into that. Do it just a few times deep so you find that place. And you're going to look away from where you're putting the hand, right? Take it down, exhale, down, inhale, and up as you exhale. So we kind of move with the breath in yoga. And we release that trapezius muscle, which gets really tight when we're working at a computer. Let's pause here for a moment. Just relax the arms and roll the shoulders again. Always a good thing to do. Keeping those shoulder blades, they're not meant to just slide out to the side of the body as we curl in and stay put. They're meant to be moving all the time. They're part of the shoulder joint. So just massage on the other side now with the opposite hand. See if you can find that kind of tight, ropey muscle. Feel it there in between the neck and the shoulder joint there, the bony feeling.
I feel it.
Good, good. And then just extend that arm long, and as it comes up, you're going to use the side of the hand, look away from the shoulder that you're releasing, the trapezius muscle on that side. And exhale, just go. If you're not doing like an inhale and exhale exactly how I'm doing it, don't worry about it. Just keep your mind on your breath and use your breath with your movement. And then just pause here. Just see how that feels for a moment. Think of the head kind of floating up. So basically what we've got is a pelvis here. We've got these low ribs on top. We've got our sit bones actually that we're sitting on. We're on our pelvis. We've got these low ribs here. I think of this as the stem of the wine glass. Like, you know, if you had a wine glass and it was completely folded over, it wouldn't be very good. And the same thing is true of our spine. If we release and don't support our spine in this midsection, it really is bad for the long-term health of our body and our posture, of course. But so this is like the wine glass is straight up and down, right? So this should be up and down. It shouldn't be rounded back. We can round it back if we need to in certain conditions. Sometimes we need to get, you know, really bend down under something that's high, and we'll do it then. But when we're normally sitting, we want to keep as tall as possible. And then the upper ribs are sitting on top of these low ribs. We've got two sections to the ribs. And then the shoulders are on top of the upper ribs, and we feel lovely and open. Let's take our hands out to the side and then just turn the palms out and then reverse them and turn them in. So you're doing a full rotation. Notice as you turn the palms so they face behind you, you're internally rotating the shoulder, and then you turn out and you're externally rotating the shoulder. So we're just getting, and there's a tendency as we exhale to drop those low ribs back. Could you keep them like the stem of the wine glass? So we're just back, and this is coming from the shoulder joint. And the rest of the body is staying strong, being supported by our upper and lower abdominals. Turn them back and open them up. And then take the hands out to the side a little further, almost up to shoulder height, but not quite. And then tip the fingers back towards you. So you're going to feel a big stretch through the hand, through the inside of the arm, maybe right across the chest and to the other side. Relax the hands down and then tip them up again. So we have this fascia going through the body. It's kind of a filmy layer of connective tissue that surrounds the muscles and the bones, joints, the organs. So there's a whole other structure in there that people don't talk about very much, except probably for yoga teachers and movement teachers. So we're going up and down, and that can really feel like a big stretch and maybe not totally comfortable. Let's interlace the hands here and massage into the webbing between the hands. Notice which finger's on top. Put the other finger on top and massage there. This is really good for people who keyboard. Do other things with their hands like garden. Now you're going to slide the heels of the hands apart. You're still sitting up nice and tall. And then keeping those hands interlaced, you're going to try to make sort of a little horizontal figure eight. So you sort of go round in a circle in one direction and then the other. This is great for ankle mobility. This is really great for wrist mobility. We'll do ankle mobility later. And then just shake it out. Let's squeeze the fists together and fling it out. Squeeze and fling, squeeze and fling, squeeze and fling, squeeze and fling. And shake out. Just shake out as much as you can in the arms and the wrists and the elbows. Relax your jaw and tongue. So you're going to tiptoe over to one side so that you're sitting sideways on your chair. Now, hopefully you're in a chair that doesn't have arms on it. If you are, is anybody in a that has sides on it? Everyone okay? Okay.
I'm not seeing anyone report sides.
Okay. So you're sitting to the side now. Your sit bones are still on your chair. You're going to take the arm that's closest to the chair and you're going to reach it up in the air. You're going to turn the palm so it faces behind you, towards the back of the chair. And then you're going to just bring the hand down and put it on the back of the chair. The other arm that's furthest away from the back of the chair, you're going to turn it out, opening up the shoulder joint, arm comes up and over. And now you're starting to rotate. We've had a little bit of practice with this. This will be a deeper rotation. The belly slides around and then the low ribs slide around. And then you find yourself kind of looking out. Don't overstrain in the shoulders and neck. Most of this should come from what we call a torso. So you can rotate a little bit more, look toward the back, and just release. That's going to release us more than if we just went and stayed there. That's one of the ways in which yoga is changing a bit, I think, because we're more into movement. So we're rotating back and then, it's called a dish rack twist. So Put your hands back on your knees and go back to the front. Just tiptoe over to the other side. And we know what we're going to do here. So the hand nearest the chair goes up and back over, and you just find a way to get it onto the back of the chair. Just keep adjusting your position as needed. You're trying to keep your knees more or less together here. The other palm turns out, we inhale it up. So external rotation of the shoulders, in and up. Really reach out, but think of the shoulder blades. So there's always oppositional movement. So fingertips are going up, shoulder blades going down. And you put the hand on the back of the chair. And then you think spiral the belly, bend the chest and ribs, and then you'll find yourself very easily. You won't have to strain the shoulders. We overuse the shoulders and the neck muscles, which is why we get such stiff necks. You're just releasing, going back, and then rotating again. See how that feels. And then come back to the front. Pause here. Again, we're sitting away from the back of the chair. Heels are under the knees. It's a really good rooted position for the feet. Just pause here for a moment. Notice your breathing. Take a breath and a rest anytime you need to. If you just need to sit back in your chair and have a relaxing time with the support of the back of the chair, that's fine too, anytime. So we're going to bring the hands to the heart. Just cross one hand over the other, and we're going to open out to the side. So again, we've got some movement going here. Inhaling and exhaling, and inhaling and exhaling. We're going to come back into the center, but now we're going to go out both ways in a diagonal. So out and in, inhaling and exhaling, and inhaling, look up when you go out, and just come back to neutral, and come back and try it on the other side. This can feel really nice because it really opens up the chest, draws the shoulder blades together. And then just pause here. Just rock a little bit back and forth on your sit bones, and just for fun, try that rolling around the sit bones again that we were doing earlier, and just see if it's, you know, a little smoother track now. Circle in the other directions. So, you know, you won't have time to, you know, spend the time, probably about 45 minutes that we're doing today, but a little bit of this can be really helpful. So my go-tos are my hinging, forward and back, side to side, circling, and, some sort of things with the arms, like, rotating the arms, some things with the hands, until I feel, yeah, that feels a little better. Often you might feel like getting up is a good idea too, and we'll do that shortly, but let's do just a couple more other things here in our seated position. Turn the palms out, inhale the arms up, and then turn the fingers in, and you're going to slide the fingers and the back of the hands down the side of the body, so you end up in an internal rotation, and then you're going to rotate the whole thing out. Going to inhale up, slide the fingertips down, and open up. Inhale up, reach up and root down through your sit bones. There's the opposition. Fingertips turn down, you slide down through the side body, turn the palms out. Inhaling up. One more time, down and out and up. Okay. So another nice one to do here is called Laughing Buddha. So you can bring the hands up so the elbows are kind of close to the waistline, but then the hands go out and you rotate so the palms are at the side, but then they go right overhead. And there you are in the Laughing Buddha position, and then you go around the Buddha belly, forearms together. If you can keep the elbows together as you bring them together, that would be great. But you can feel the whole back of the body opening, the whole chest moving here. Keep some engagement in the lower abdominals and the upper abdominals, so you don't just collapse back into this as you're doing it. Just do as many as feels comfortable. Pause there. So take the hands out to the side, cross one arm over the other, high up above the elbows if you can. Hug yourself for doing this today. It's a good thing for you and for other people that you spend time with. Work more efficiently, or do whatever you do afterwards more efficiently. Let's circle our elbows around in one direction. Let's circle the elbows around in the other direction. And then look at which elbow's on top You're going to take it out, and other elbow's going to go on top, and you're going to hug yourself again. So here, what you'd like to do is find the inside of the shoulder blades, which are right here. If you can't get there, then just, massage a bit into the back of the shoulder blade bone itself. But if you can creep in, you can kind of do a little massage on the inside of the shoulder blades. And then you could also circle around in one direction, circle around in the other, sit tall, draw those low ribs together, and relax. Shake it out a little bit. I just love shaking the joints. Jiggling the joints is a really good thing. So before we go up to standing, what we're going to do here is sort of connect the legs to what we've been doing in the upper body. So you're going to slide one heel out. You can see me doing this, Laurie. Can you see me sliding my leg out? I hope.
Yes, I just remembered to unmute myself. We can see you, Joanne.
So the heel is out. That leg, you're drawing the toes back towards you. That's one reason why, you might want to wear bare feet sometime, but you don't have to right now. But you want enough room in your shoe that you can draw the toes back towards you. So on the other side, you still have your foot on the floor, your knee is over your ankle, and you're going to sort of hinge forward through the hip. Now we've got it prepared, and just go forward through the hip as far as you can without feeling uncomfortable. And you're going to slide the hand up the back, so you can slide the hand down the front and up the back. This should feel like a nice way to open up the back of the knee and the back of the hamstrings. And then you could turn the toe so it's slightly turned out, and then you're going to go down the inside of the foot and around to the outside, up the inside of the foot rather than the front, and then around the outside. And then you're going to turn the foot slightly in, so it's angled slightly in. And this time we can go down the outside of the leg and either up through the center or up through the other side, your choice. Both of those could feel good. And then you just pause here, wiggle your sit bones, and extend the other leg long. So you're drawing those toes towards you. And if your knee is a little bent, that's fine. If you want to, straighten it out more, think of the kneecap lifting up towards the hip and the thigh muscle pressing to the thigh bone. That's going to lengthen your hamstrings in the back of the thighs. So toes, first of all, just coming straight back towards you. And you're going to slide the hand down the front and up the back. Doesn't matter how far you go down here, but I prefer that you didn't really round down. Just try to hinge at the hip. Yogis hinge at the hip. They don't fold at the waist or arc at the waist. Okay, you're going to turn that toe out a little bit, and then you're going to go down the inside and out the down the inside and out the up the outside. So you're just getting this kind of release and massage into the leg, and then turn the toes in, and then you start by going outside. So you're lengthening the outside of the leg, and then up the front or the inside, whatever you prefer, which part of the leg. And then put the toes down in front of you. So the heels are in front of the knee. And, everybody, I think, as we move through life, everybody starts to think, I want to keep my bones strong. So what can we do to keep our bones strong? Well, one of them is weight-bearing exercise, but we can also send vibration through the bones. So we're just going to lift our toes, and we're going to start. This is fun. So hopefully you're not on the second floor and people underneath are wondering, what is she doing up there? But you're just bouncing your toes on the floor here. You can go in and out a little bit. So we're just getting some nice movement. You get a little movement in the hip, and then pause here. Just notice the tingly sensation you get in the hip. Okay, so, what happens after a while too, when you've been sitting, your hips get so stiff, it's really hard to get up. So we should really start at an early point, being really mindful about how we're getting up, because when we get up, we want to use the feet. You can see I'm hinging at the hip here already. So I moved my heels in just a little bit because I want to get my center of gravity more or less between my heels. So here's my center of gravity, 3 inches below my navel center, 3 inches in. I want that to come forward. So I'm hinging forward here. And then to come up, we'll just come up a little bit. We're going to inhale to prepare. As we exhale, we press into the feet. And you can put the hands just out in front of you. And just, you're not trying to get up all the way. You're just trying to practice this idea of engaging your core to lift you off. And you're pressing up from the feet. That's really important. So hopefully you can kind of feel that, that's doing something. You can always go back to massaging the legs. I love to do that myself. So we're going to hinge forward again. So what you're doing is taking your center of gravity. We're a pretty funny structure, the human body. We've got so much weight in the upper chest and in the head, very heavy head. So it's a lot to lift. So we hinge forward. We just let the arms dangle for a minute. And then just lift with your seat off the chair and dangle the arms. If you want, you can drop the head too. And then put your hands on your thighs, press into the feet here, scoop that belly, knit those ribs, that the arms come overhead and release down. So here we are in standing mountain pose. So check out where you are. You've got your feet on the floor here. Think of really root into the whole foot. If you happen to have bare feet, you can press into the big toe ball, the outer edge of the heel. It's like a cross strap sandal. Big toe ball, outer edge of heel. You'll feel the inner arch lift. Everything starts with the feet, and then inner edge of heel, pinky toe balls. Inner edge of heel, pinky toe balls. So think four corners, lift the toes, open and spread the feet. And you'll feel, especially when you do big toe ball to outer edge of heel, the inner arch of the foot down here just lifts right up. So if you always thought, oh, I've got flat feet, you might be surprised to discover that you just had a muscle that wasn't working for you. So go big toe ball to outer edge of the heel, inner edge of the heel to pinky toe ball, so the pinky toe balls stay down on the floor. Put your hands on your hips. This is a great thing to get up from your desk, and you just start to make some circles with the hips. I'd like you to think about it as moving your pelvis, the bones of the pelvis here, over the top of the leg bones. And then circle in the other direction. Often if your back is tight or sore, this can be tender back there, so go easy. Keep the knees soft. Keep thinking about circling around the four corners of the feet as well. Go in the other direction when you feel like it. So you just keep the knees very relaxed. The other thing you can get up just for a quick getter upper in between, the times when you're working at your computer, and you should probably be up at least once every 30 minutes if possible, 45 if not. But never sit for more than an hour if you can completely avoid it, because it really has a bad effect on the hydration of the joints and your ease of movement and all sorts of things. So here we are, we're about hips width apart in the feet, toes are facing straight ahead. And we've got our center of gravity that we talked about down here. And I'd like you to keep the center of the forehead in line with the center of the belly. Soften the knees a bit. That means bend them forward a little bit. Let the arms just float around you. So what's moving is your whole spine, basically from tailbone to crown of head. It's a little easier to think of it as center of forehead to center of belly. And only go around as is comfortable. At some point, you're moving your torso here, over the leg bones, your pelvis over the leg bones. And you're moving everything together. So it's very efficient movement. This is very good for your low back. And what you can do if you want, that's just the most relaxed version of it. And I would really recommend getting up. I do this multiple times a day whenever I feel, fatigued and things like that. But you can also do a little bit of an energy building version when you bring the forearms down and you're tapping one arm in the front and the other arm is sort of tapping on your sacrum here. So it's like an energy builder, and you can go a little bit faster, not too much, but just send some nice energy into the body. Okay, let's just take the arms out to the side here. Fingertips are a little lower at the top of the shoulder. Turn one palm up. Inhale up, reach up with your fingertips, root down with the foot on that side, pat yourself on the back for being here. Other palm turns up, hand comes up and over, and you ease it back. Draw the lowers back. There's a tendency to want to arch forward here, but you're not going to do that. And then one arm goes up, other arm goes up, reach up, root down, soften the knees. You don't need stiff knees. Turn the palms out and exhale down and roll the shoulders. I can't remember if we went up with the other hand, so let's take the hands up again. The second hand palm turns up and goes up, reach up, root down, relax the shoulder blade, don't lift the shoulder. It's the shoulder blade on the back that we want to get. Elbow bends, fingertips teach. You know, tap the back, other palm comes up, hand takes elbow, draw the elbow back and draw the lower ribs back at the same time. Ah, and pause and roll. Everything's starting to feel like it's really moving nicely, right? So there's another famous pose called downward facing dog. And what you can do is go to the back of your chair. You could also potentially use the chair seat, which will be at a slightly lower level. But I'm just going to walk my feet back. I'm going to push my chair forward just a little bit here. So what I want to do is to go as far back away from the chair. The heels of my hands are on the top of my chair, and I'm just reaching my sit bones back. I'm bending the knees slightly. Toes are straight ahead of heels, and I'm bending one knee and then bending the other knee. So as you straighten the leg, you're lifting the kneecap. Think of lifting the kneecap, pressing the thigh muscle to the thigh bone to open up the back of the legs. And then we have another move called lunge. So right now your upper body is kind of parallel to the floor. You're going to shift your weight to one side and take a step forward. That's a comfortable size step, doesn't have to be really big. So that one leg has come forward towards the back of the chair. There's no rule about how far you have to bring it forward, but you've got your hand on the chair for stability. Your knee is over your ankle, that front leg, and then on that side where the leg is forward, you're going to bring the arm up and you're going to lengthen. And then try it on the other side. So now you're going from that back leg, the heel, all the way up to the fingertips. Oh my. And then bring the hand down, keep breathing, bring the foot back, and take the other foot forward. So we take a little time getting into position. With this one, it's called a crescent lunge actually. And the toes are, both sets of toes are facing forward to the back of the chair. So our knee is over our ankle. That's always the best place for support of the knee. And then the opposite arm can come up. You can get a nice stretch here right from the heel on that side. And then you can try it on this side too. Inhaling and exhaling. So can you feel, how it really works best if you kind of scoop that belly, knit those ribs in? You get a lot more strength in the pose. So it's not just about the back of the leg. It's really, every pose is about the whole body. And then the foot comes back again. Be careful when you move that your chair doesn't move. You probably know your own situation best. And then once you get down, see if you can, really make the upper body parallel to the floor. The head comes down more or less between the upper arms. But then you bend the knees slightly, send the sit bones back again, and then you can alternately straighten the legs a bit. So if you do have a chair like mine that does slip a little bit on the floor, just be very careful. You might want to put a yoga mat under your chair next time so it doesn't move around so easily. And then just walk in. So you can also use the side of the chair. So you can put the heel of your hand just on the top of the chair here, or even just a finger sometimes is all it takes. The balance system is a funny thing. You get some balance from what we've been doing with the feet here, strengthening the muscles in the feet and ankles. And you also get some balance from the inner ear balance system, and which tells your brain where you are in space. That is, there's a little place there where there's some little particles, and it's like a carpenter's level in your inner ear. And if those little things get out of there, then you can get very dizzy. And our vision has a lot to do with how that whole area of the ear feels. So having your finger, sometimes just hands on hips will do it for you. Or having a fingertip on a wall, one that's right beside you ideally, is perfect. And sometimes finger on the back of the chair, but you also may feel better, and you should do whatever makes you feel safest, having the hand on the back of the chair. So here we are, we're just standing beside the chair. Our feet are hips width apart. We're bending the knees a bit, we're relaxed, no stiff knees. And then shift your weight over to the foot near the chair, and then you're going to do some little football kicks forward and back. If you feel unsteady, just put your foot down like I just did, kick forward and point back. You can feel this, your hip joint working here, and then come down, just walk it out. This is an important one because most of the time we're going, marching forward, right? We don't march back very much, and we certainly don't march to the side. So shift your weight over to the foot near the chair. Then you're going to, and hand on hip is a good thing here. So you're just drawing the toes back towards you there, and you're just letting the leg come out as far as it feels like going out to the side. Pause here, just march in place a couple of times, and then shift the weight over to the foot near the leg, go out again, but this time start to circle the heel. So now you're making a circle on one leg, but I'd much rather see people do this than try to stand, without support, and then it not being a really good thing for their knee joint or their hip joint for that matter, either circle in the opposite direction. So you'll be able to tell, I'm feeling really this is making me quite tired, and I can tell I'm not teaching all the classes that I usually teach, so it's having a real effect on me. So you're having a really good effect on me. So let's do this football kick thing on the other side. And because my chair moves a bit, I've also got another piece of furniture here. And arrange your space so that you've got the supports that you need. If I ever need to, then I can also put my finger down over there, kick and point. Don't worry about how far you go. You want to feel the movement. You have an exhale as you kick. Just follow your breath. And then pause here for a minute. Just walk it out for a minute. And then again, shift your weight. So the weight shift, when you shift like that, and you just even hover the other foot off the floor, that's full body weight bearing. And that full body weight bearing is going to be very beneficial for our bones. So now we're going to take the leg out to the side, maybe put the hand on the hip and feel the movement there in the hip muscles. And then you're going to circle the heel around in one direction. Keep breathing, circle in the other direction. And then take the hands up, palms are facing up, bring the hands together overhead and draw them back to the heart. This is standing mountain pose, Tadasana, soften the knees, feel the heel pads, feel all four corners of the feet. And then release the hands out and sort of shake them out. Another fun thing to do, and you can do this seated or standing, you can have the elbows just in by the waist, and you can imagine you're serving some cookies out to the side. This gets the rotator muscles in the arms. And then turn the palms down, and you're going to flip some pancakes over your shoulders. Keep the hands nice and open and spread. And then finally, you could just cross your fingertips over your forehead here. And move back in front of my chair, so I've got enough room here. So I'm going to go out in one direction and out in the other. Double salute. Can you keep relaxed in the body, but also, really engaging the key support muscles, lower abdominals, upper abdominals. And relax and release. Okay, let's find our chair again. But as we do so, let's pause for a minute, bend the knees towards the toes, extend the arms out. So here's a yoga chair pose. I haven't actually sat down yet, but my arms are extending out in front of me. My sit bones are heading back from the chair, but they're not there yet. But this is the traditional yoga chair pose. Now I bring my hands back, I find the edge of my chair, and I get to sit down now. Okay. Circle around the sit bones. I'm always amazed at how much better this feels after, doing some movement than it did when we first started out. You think, oh, what's going on? But it's a really nice thing to do for yourself. The other thing that's kind of nice, you know, there's a tree pose, a yoga tree pose in yoga, where you put the foot on the side of the leg in a standing position. Well, you can do something in a chair, which we'll call figure 4 pose. So lift up one knee, get the ankle, and see if you can pull it across in front of the knee. You don't want to be pressing into any joints. So you're not pressing into the knee joint here. You're not pressing into the ankle joint here. You're going to hold on to the heel of the foot that's going across the knee. With the other hand, you're going to gently resist away with the knee. So this knee is going out, and then you're resisting out, but you could also resist back if you wanted with the knee itself. So the hand is pressing out, but you're also pressing back with the knee. And this does kind of a nice little release in the hip socket. And I have very tight hips. I don't know if it's my English heritage or whatever, but my hips are very tight. But if I could get away with it in a SILS meeting, now I tell you, but I would sit up fairly close to the table and I would try to get my foot in this position. It's not easy because my knee comes up so high that it's not easy to get it up under the table. But it's something for you to think about. You can also do this when lying on your back. But it's a really good hip opener. You can think of the thigh as, you know, sort of spiraling out. You sort of can even massage out to the side through the muscle there, and then put that foot back, and then lift the other one up. Got one hand just below the knee and the other one on the ankle. You cross it over. If it didn't go over, like, you know, if you say that's just not going to work for me, you could do something similar by just crossing one low leg under the other. And you could just be sort of pressing away with the knee here and pressing the knee back into the hand. Otherwise, you can do the full figure 4 coming up here. And, you know, the body, everything is always changing, as we so well know. And the body is always changing. And I think the thing is to be curious and interested, and mostly in ways that will help us feel more comfortable, more movable in the body, more able to do the things that we want to do. So I'm just going to, you know, press away with the hand, but press back towards me with the knee. And if you keep the toes coming back towards you here, keep an awareness of the foot here, you're not just kind of collapsing the foot. This is going to protect your knee joint. So you certainly want to do that. You might feel it on the inside of your thighs. And pause here. So a nice little reward for yourself for doing this would be to bring the hands forward, put the palms together, and then slide the hand up the inside and down the outside of the arm. So this stimulates the lymphatic system, which is in this upper arm and chest area. Inhale up and exhale down. I'm going to try that on the other side. Inhale up the inside, around and down the outside. So I'm just going to finish by what I've been experimenting lately, since I am retired now and I could sleep in a little longer, is that I do a little bit of bed yoga. So we have to just imagine that we're kind of laying in bed, and now we get to hinge back at the hip and just rest the top of our shoulders in the back of our chair if that's convenient for you. And you're going to extend the legs out, but just imagine that you're laying in bed, right? So, and you've got your blankets over you, so there's a little bit of resistance, but we're going to draw the toes towards us and then point the toes. So you can actually, since we're sitting up here, you can see your ankles moving. Keeping the feet and ankles mobile and those joints movable is really important for balance. So pointed flex, and then you can actually roll the feet out a little bit and then roll them in. When you roll them out, you might feel stretching on the outside of the leg. When you roll them in, you could feel it on the inside of the leg. So out and in and out and in. And then circle the toes around. Since we're kind of sitting, semi-sitting up here, we've got to scoop the belly knit and the ribs to support the low back in this position. Circle the toes in the other direction. And then imagine that you're in the swimming pool and you're going to flutter kick a little bit. And then put the feet down. So I usually do something like that. And then I bring my arms up overhead. So I'm laying in bed. Well, you can sit back up on your sit bones for this one, but you just lift the arms and release them down. So you sort of release the upper back. But imagine I'm laying down, so my head's on the pillow and I'm just going up and down. And then I interlace the hands like we did before and kind of massage into the interlace, put the other index finger in front and massage, and then press up. Just opening up the shoulders, maybe circling the hands in one direction and circling around. So you can come up with new little things to do. But I think activating the feet and the ankles is so important, and then bring the hands back down. Just pause here, follow your natural breathing. Just notice how your breathing might have changed. Maybe gently close the eyes. Now when we finish our yoga practice, I have a nice singing bowl here, so I'll just do 3 rings. So thank you for being here, and namaste, everybody.